That was Earthworm by Toronto-based indie pop duo TandM. TandM is made up of lead singer and guitarist Maxine Beck-Sinderby and drummer Thomas Franklin. T for Thomas and M for Maxine, therefore TandM. The two met serendipitously at a music studio in high school and became fast friends, and eventually a couple. They both entered into York University for music, where their songwriting skills would grow, and they would put out their first EP, Reflections Volume 1 and Reflections Volume 2 in 2019. Then in October of 2020, after having graduated from university, both with BAs in music, and signing with Popguru Sound and Vision, Maxine and Thomas chose their favorite 5 tracks from both EPs and sent them to Howie Beck and João Carvalho to be remixed and remastered, and put those tracks out on a new EP called Reflections Remastered. I caught up with Maxine and Thomas via Zoom to talk about the new EP, their music videos, as well as what it's like trying to break out onto the music scene during a global pandemic. Here's my chat with TandM. How has the pandemic been for you guys?
Well, let me think. In terms of music, it's definitely been annoying. We have never toured before. We've never done like a real like release and then tour and all this stuff. So we just graduated university in June without a ceremony. It's been postponed because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And because of that, initially we were planning on graduating and then celebrating by touring and performing a bunch of shows across Canada. So that was a bit of a letdown because I've never toured before, and my dream is just to hop in the car and you go across Canada, and it's like all the fun of, I guess, doing it for the first time, all the ups and downs. But because of that, we couldn't do that. We couldn't record new music, which we had planned to do. So there's a lot of downs, but there's also a lot of ups. Thomas and I lived together, so we had a lot of time to just like basically songwrite and hang out and figure out what we wanted to do. Like we had a lot of time to brainstorm essentially. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, we also made a lot of connections. Basically this COVID thing has like trapped everyone in the same kind of bubble where we're all like, I don't know, figuring it out and connecting on that front. And then we've been doing a lot of like music video stuff and basically just trying to expand in a more antisocial way, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, all the behind the scenes stuff has been working out, but the actual performance part is tricky. So yeah, that's been, at least for me. Thomas, what would you say? Like,
yeah, definitely the same. Well, mostly the same in terms of, not playing live shows. It sucks, but it's part of what's going on right now, and we accept that. So we try to work a bit more behind the scenes in terms of, definitely songwriting. And it was great to get a couple music videos in as well. We have one out that we made during COVID, and we have 2 that are currently on the back burner. So looking forward to release those 2, yeah.
Cool. I do want to jump into the music video in a little bit.
Cool.
When you said you had a bunch of plans, everyone's had plans that fell through. Where were you hoping to go on tour?
Oh, that's a good question, because we had just started like sending out the emails right as COVID hit. So in like really January, February. Yeah, exactly. So we had just started to send stuff out right when everything was crashing down. But I think we were thinking a lot of campuses, university campuses. We have a lot of friends who go to like Queen's, Western, U of Ottawa, McGill, Guelph, even in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, maybe even up in Halifax too.
What was it? Sorry, Dalhousie. Yeah, that was it. And UBC, like quite a few friends across Canada. So we were planning on like getting them to bring their friends out if we played shows in their cities. So those were our main landmarks, and then I guess whatever we could get in between them.
Right. Okay.
That's what we had planned. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about any new hobbies or anything like that came up in the quarantine times?
Thomas?
Well, for me, I've always loved building Legos since I was a kid, so that's been one of my. I got to revisit a lot of old Lego sets that I just had, and I don't know, my love for Lego has come back for sure. So for me, that's definitely. What about you?
Yeah. We also played a lot more video games. That's a big one. We've been playing a lot of Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, cool.
But I actually got a job because of COVID. So I work at a school. I'm a student supervisor at a private school here in Toronto.
Okay.
And my job is essentially to make sure that kids are being safe with the COVID pandemic in class. So I go in with my mask and everything, and I have to make sure that the kids aren't like, sharing food or being too close to each other or touching or anything like that. But it's kind of funny because all the downsides of COVID, I actually was hired because of COVID. So
right.
That's pretty interesting for me, but I guess that's a hobby then. I don't know.
What did you two go to university for?
Both for music.
Okay.
For me specifically, it was jazz drums, and Maxine was for jazz vocals. But we both have BFAs now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So when you audition for York, we went to York University, and when you audition, you have to choose either classical or jazz. So both. I guess Thomas, you could have auditioned with classical actually, because Thomas is actually pretty good at like percussion as well. But I cannot sing like an opera singer, so I immediately took the jazz front. And so both of us studied a lot of jazz music before auditioning. But once you get into York, their music program is so extensive in terms of different genres and I guess styles. That you could kind of make your way through whatever path you wanted and still graduate with the same degree you came for. Okay, so I think by the end of it, Thomas and I were doing a lot of like R&B ensemble, you did a lot of percussion, and we also did a lot of like digital music. So we were doing a lot of stuff on computers, learning how to produce music and also write for like video games, TV shows, movies, that kind of thing. So
cool.
You can imagine like how cool that was for us, like figuring that out in the first year, being like, wait, there's so many more courses than we thought there were. And so it was really exciting. Yeah.
That's awesome. So is that how you two met then, was in university?
Yeah, we met actually just before university. I was moving around high schools from Cleveland, Ohio to Toronto, and Maxine and I met there. By chance through a music studio because I was just looking for like a few people to play in a band with, and this local music studio does like band program where they kind of
mélange the kids.
Yeah, sure. So you can like form a little band, and we met through that, and then we ended up going to the same university as well.
Yeah, so essentially coincidentally, we were in the same English class in high school, but didn't even know each other until we were put into the same band at our music studio. So it was pretty crazy coincidence.
Very like serendipitous.
Yeah, that's the word everyone used. I had no idea what that word meant until our PR was like, use this word. And I was like, I have no clue what that means. Sounds like a Disney word.
Cool. So, all right. And then how long did it take from that, like, first playing together in the band until you two started TandM?
We played with a band. We played with two other guys in high school, and it was all, like, cover music. I think most bands start off that way. They just play their favorite tunes together. And then eventually, when we went to university, the other two in our band went to Queens. So we weren't seeing them as much. And because of that, we were like, how the heck are we going to play these cover songs with just like the drums, guitar, and voice, which is basically what our duo is. Thomas being drums and myself, guitar and voice. So we were like, well, the easiest way out of this is just to write our own music that matches it. So we kind of found the loophole there. And that's how we started TandM, was just like writing music for our instrument specifically and then branching out from there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember when I first heard of you guys, and I think it may have been last year.
Oh, really?
Cool. Yeah, because I came so close to going to one of your shows, and then something came up last minute.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So like when I got the PR email about this about setting this up, I was like, oh my god, I already know these guys. That's great.
That's so sweet. Did you get the email? Was it Auteur Research? that sent you it, or Listen Harder?
No, it was Listen Harder.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jessica, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Jessica.
awesome.
Yeah.
On the record,
How did
she's
you guys get hooked up with Listen Harder?
Oh, that's such. I'm sorry, I keep talking, but basically, it's a really funny story. My mom is our biggest, like one of our biggest fans.
Okay.
And she went to her hairdresser, and you know how your hairdresser, well, I don't know about you, but they're mostly gossiping and saying, how was your week and what are you up to, and that kind of thing, and briefing you on like their lives and your life. So my mom kind of spilled the beans that her daughter, myself, that were in a band, and her hairdresser's like, oh, no way, I know the PR agent for like the Lumineers and stuff. and like City and Color. And so my mom flipped out, and she's like, that's crazy, you have to get me in touch. And it was total like fluky coincidence where she reached out to this woman, which was Christina at Listen Harder.
Yeah.
And she sent her a little email being like, hey, my daughter's in a band, I know your friend who's the hairdresser, and I'm not asking any favors, I'm just sending you her music, and if you have the time, check it out. And then we got an email back saying, yeah, we'd love to meet them. So that was kind of it, and it was complete chance, and every day I think we're super happy about that, because go hairdressers.
Yeah, for sure.
And go moms.
Thank God for that gossip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it was pretty crazy. And the first day we met, Christina was like a week later, and it was right after Nuit Blanche. So both Thomas and I were extremely tired and hungover, and yet she still went for us. So I'm I'm honored to be a part of that. Yeah.
They're definitely a great team.
Yeah.
What did you guys get up to at Nuit Blanche? Was there anything exciting? I haven't been for a few years now, just because.
Are you from Toronto?
Not originally. I'm originally from South Africa, but I've been living in.
That's what the accent is.
Yeah, there's a little bit of an accent. Yeah.
Cool. No, that's awesome. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I haven't been for so long, just because it seems to just get busier and busier every year. So I think for the last 2 years, I was like, that's too many people for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think that over the years as well, it's become more of a party, kind of like party central. Yeah. I know that the year that we went before meeting Christina, that was the year that I was really committed to seeing at least half of the actual artworks. So, or art exhibits, I guess. So I had downloaded the map that had where they all were, and we went downtown and we're like, we're going to do this. So I basically walked a group of like, I think 7 people throughout downtown Toronto, just trying to see all the exhibits. And I think we got to most of them. Yeah. But there's a point at like 3 a.m. where you're seeing creepy artwork and you're like, I got to go to bed. It's just too weird. Yeah. But it's definitely fun. I recommend it if you, once COVID's over, when you get the chance.
Definitely. What was your, do you remember like your favorite exhibit from last year?
I remember, I don't think it was last year. I think it might have been 2 years ago, but there's a really cool big moon that they had at Nathan Phillips Square. It was this giant moon.
Yeah, the moon, yeah.
Oh, the ball of light thing.
Yeah, like they would light it up and they would kind of change color and rotate it. It was just very grand and like cool to look at.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
There was one exhibit where you walk indoors, so it was in a building, and it was like the main room of this building on the first floor, and they had projectors set up that were on these white walls, and you walk up and you write on a piece of paper a confession, and it was very serious. They were all really, really like either dark or very deep, personal confessions, and you put them in a box, and then someone draws from the box, types up your confession, and projects it on the wall. Oh, so it's all anonymous, but you walk into this room and it says like, you know, I cheated on my husband, or I never wanted a child, and you're just like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
So there was I found it really interesting from like, I guess a bit of a poetic standpoint. But yeah, that was probably the one that stuck with me the most, because it was just so brutally honest, and it was less of artwork and more of like an experiment almost. Yeah. Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Is this what inspired the Girl in the Bathroom music video?
No.
There you go. I thought, I wanted to mention that maybe, but I I think that was just before, so it might have subliminally inspired the idea that we got.
Oh, you mean because we write the? Oh, you're referring to the video. Oh, that's so smart. Wow, I didn't even think of that. Jesus. Oh, that's true because we
definitely the same idea.
Wow. Oh no! I've just admitted to copying an arts installation.
Well, no. I think the art piece or the exhibit just worked, right? Because it inspired you to do something with it. So
yeah,
I think that's cool.
That's very true. Wow, there's so many subconscious things we keep coming across that would kind of freak us out because we're like, oh my gosh, how did Taylor Swift end up in my song? It's like embarrassing. But yeah.
Okay, Thomas, I think you touched on this. You said you're from Ohio originally?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm actually I grew up in Ottawa. And
where were you born?
I was born in England, but my parents moved from England to Ottawa when I was a kid. And around grade 7, I moved to Cleveland. Yeah, just for 4 years, but I made a lot of great friends there, and that's really how I got to playing the drums, actually. So that's why it holds this kind of special place for me. Right. I got into playing the drums and percussion, and I was on like the drum line with marching band and stuff. It was a big deal there in America. And then I moved back to Canada in 2014. So.
Oh wow! You know the year. Yeah.
Yeah. And
grade 11.
Basically continued playing the drums, but always kind of like. Shout out to Cleveland for inspiring me to play the drums.
Yeah, for sure. Do you come from like a musical family?
Not too much. I mean, my dad plays the keyboard and the piano, and my mom was a singer in a band in her youth as well. But other than that, no. Like my mom's a translator, and my dad's an art historian. So. Oh wow. Maxine can say differently.
Oh no. Well, do you have any background in drums or no?
No. Well, wow. Like you mean my family?
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's so cool. Huh. Sorry, I've never actually asked him about that, so that's something for me to know too. I'm interviewing now.
No problem at all. I love it when people ask questions on here too, so that's totally fine. What about you, Maxine? Where are you from originally?
I was born in Montreal, and then I moved to Toronto when I was 4, and I've basically been here since. My mom is Canadian-Hungarian, and my dad is Swedish. So if I'm not here, I'm in Sweden.
That explains the Swedish connection. I was going to ask about that. Was going to be my next line of questioning. So cool. We'll get to that.
I thought you were going to tell me I have an accent, and I was really hoping I did, but I definitely don't. I don't speak very much Swedish. I can speak just a little, but if I'm not like in Canada, I'm probably in Sweden because we go there most summers, except for this one because that's how it goes.
No one's allowed.
Yeah. But in terms of music, the way I started playing was basically, I don't know if that was the question actually. Maybe I'm rambling.
It was where you're from.
Where I'm from. That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah. We'll stop there.
Okay, well, actually, I do want to know a bit more about because you do come from a musical family. You have some uncles, I believe, was it?
Yes, uncles.
Cool. So tell me about that.
So one of them is a phenomenal piano player. His name is Jason, but many know him as Chili Gonzalez.
Okay.
I know him as Jason, or Gonzo, and he plays piano, and it's incredible. And he writes his own music and performs it live and tours essentially most of the world. My other uncle is Chris, or Christoph Beck is his full name, and he scores a lot of Hollywood films. So his first biggest hit was the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show.
Okay, cool. I'm actually just watching that with my girlfriend now for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me know how the music is then.
We love the music. That was her draw to bring in.
Oh, that's so great.
Me to watch it. She's like, the music's so good.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great to hear. I'll let him know. But yeah, and then he's done like Frozen, The Hangover, Ant-Man. Yeah, so he's been like blowing up in the film world, which definitely hits a chord with me because I really, really like film music as well. So yeah, that's basically how I've been growing up is like surrounded by these uncles who come home for Christmas and they both can play piano amazingly. And, you know, they both can sing too. I don't know why they don't sing more, but they both can sing. So I've been kind of accustomed to that since I was a kid. So that's pretty cool.
Cool. And then how long have you been playing playing guitar?
So I actually played piano first. That was when I was like 4 years old. That was right around the time we moved to Toronto. I had the parents who were kind of like, you should learn an instrument in a very passive aggressive way. So I started taking lessons on piano, and I did that for about, I think, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 years. I got pretty far in my studies. I started doing a lot of classical piano, like Four Elise and all that stuff. And then eventually I was like, you know what, if I want to keep going with this, I'm going to have to start to do like exams, and I'm going to have to take it really seriously and maybe think of this as a career. So I essentially dropped it, to which my parents were like, well, then you got to find something else. So my best friend at the time and we decided we would start taking guitar lessons, just like for the fun of it.
Okay.
And it started off really like joking, like we were like, we want to learn Green Day. And so we walked into a lesson. It was like the worst version of Green Day songs you've ever heard. Like imagine a Wake Me Up When September Ends, but like completely out of tune. So that's how it started. And then after a few months, my best friend, she dropped out. And I kind of realized that I was like not hating it. I was like, this is actually kind of cool. So I kept up with the lessons, but I never sang. I just played guitar. And then as high school rolled around, I was put, we had to take an elective, which is normally like dance, art, or music. And so I chose art. And of course the class was full, so they booted me out and they put me in vocals class, which was like horrifying for me. I was like, no way, I'm not going to sing. And eventually I had like a bit of a heart-to-heart with my teacher, and she just told me that, you know what, if you like, it's okay if you don't want to sing the stuff that's in this class, find something you like and we'll try it out. So I brought in a bunch of songs I learned on guitar, and we played along with them and we sang along with them, and it got me to a point comfort-wise where I enjoyed it. And once again, I found this kind of like inspiration to pursue music, just because I was like, hey, this isn't so bad. I'm actually liking doing this. It's not like a commitment or not a priority, but like it's not like a pastime. It's actually something I look forward to. Mm-hmm. So so piano, then guitar, and then vocals. And then since then I've just been playing guitar, vocals, and I'll play keys. Like I'll play piano in a lot of our recordings. Okay. But when we play live, I'm playing guitar. So that's kind of the main instrument for right now. Yeah. Right on.
What were those first songs? Do you remember the ones that you learned to play and sing?
Oh man, I think it was like "Ho Hey" by the Lumineers.
Oh, okay.
I think it was "Of Monsters and Men." Have you heard of them?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Iceland. And probably a Green Day track. I really liked Green Day.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there actually was like a very specific song I can remember. I'll have to think about it. I'll think about it and we'll come back to it if you want.
Okay, cool. And then for in university, what was your instrument of choice there?
I was there for jazz vocals.
For jazz vocals, that's right.
That's
okay,
how I
so
auditioned.
the voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But by the end, I was taking a lot of songwriting courses. Mm-hmm. I was actually one of two girls in my class for 4 years of songwriting at York. So that was very like crazy for me, was that it's a class full of guys essentially, and then there was just two girls. So for me, I was like, I gotta push through. I gotta do this.
Right. Yeah.
So composition became a huge priority for me, just whether it was songwriting or writing like instrumental music that later could be used for our band or for movies or whatever it is. So I kind of ventured like from jazz vocals to composition using vocals, I guess.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right, and then you touched on the Swedish connection. So that's just you have family from there. Whereabouts in Sweden?
Oh, we're in a small town called Vänersborg.
Okay.
It's about. I'll do the English versions of the city names because I don't want to butcher the Swedish. But Vänersborg is where we're from, and then we are about, I'd say, an hour away from Gothenburg.
Okay.
which I believe is like the third or second biggest city in Sweden, which is about maybe 5 hours train ride from Stockholm.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So that gives you a kind of estimation, but yeah, Vänersborg's pretty small. It's a small town, and my dad grew up there, and we still have a cottage there, so we go up every summer.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. I've actually been to Sweden once myself.
Cool.
I used to play when I was in South Africa. I used to play handball, and there's a huge handball tournament that happens in Sweden every
Really?
year called in Partille.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Did you enjoy it?
Oh my god, I absolutely loved it. I remember the first day because like it was like this big international tournament, and we were like living in a classroom at a school. And I guess it was like, it must have been summer vacation because there were definitely like no kids at the school. So there was like a few teams situated in these like cots and classrooms. And I went out with my buddy, and we just wanted to get something to drink. Like we were just like, let's just get like a bottle of Coke from the store down the road. And then we were looking at the currency, and we're like, we don't know what this is. What is this? So we go, and like the person's like super nice, and we're like, hey, this is what we have. And they're like, they just asked us like, oh, where are you from? And we're like, oh, we're from South Africa. And they were like, cool. We just made small talk for 5 minutes, and then you just let us have the Coke. He's just like, oh, you take that. Welcome to Sweden. And I was just like, oh, I love this place.
That's
it's
so
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a huge stereotype that everyone's friendly there, but it's kind of true. Like,
Yeah.
Every time I've ever been, everyone's very friendly and kind.
Yeah. I definitely felt that a lot, and I don't know. It could have been maybe just like that town, but I don't know. It was a pleasant experience nonetheless. It was also the first time like going into a country by ship for me, which was also.
You went by ship. That's so cool.
Yeah, because we came from Germany, so we just came like an overnight on a ship, and we're all, I think, the oldest guys on the team. So me and one other guy were 18. Everyone else was like 15, 16. So
oh my goodness,
we got into all sorts of trouble. It was great.
That's
Good
so
times.
Fun. Do you get seasick?
No. No. We were throwing up for other reasons by the end of the night.
Well, you're lucky. I get very motion sick in cars, so I've always had this fear that if I ever do travel by ship, I'm going to be so sick.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a problem when you go on tour finally.
I know. I have to bring some meds with me.
Yeah. Bring gravel and all kinds of stuff.
Exactly. Oh, man.
All right. Well, guys, I wanted to talk about the new EP. Which came out, correct me if I'm wrong, October 22nd?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, cool.
I had to check my calendar. But yeah.
And so this is actually just a collection of your songs, but remastered. And listening to the EP, it's so easy to listen to. It's like, the tunes are so catchy. How difficult was it to pick 5 tracks to put out on this?
Oh.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the compliments.
That's a hard question. I guess those are what we consider to be our 5 strongest songs, probably in terms of songwriting and like instrument structure, but also
I think it's also our friends' favorites.
True.
Like, I think a lot of it came from the popularity of the song before we remastered it. So we already had 2 videos for 2 songs that we knew our friends at least really liked.
Okay.
And then we got a lot of opinions from like Listen Harder and I don't know if you know Popguru.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I did some research on them because I saw that you signed.
Yeah, so Graham Stairs was the guy who approached us he kind of inspired us to do these remasters in the first place, and he had definitely influenced us on 1 or 2 songs. He was like, these are really, really good. Right. So I think we just got a bunch of opinions from friends, family, but I think there's some bias there too. I think we definitely like those songs a lot more than the others too.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
What would you say, and these can be different answers for the 2 of you, what would you say is your favorite song off the EP?
Thomas?
That's a good one. I guess probably Earthworm. I mean, I love Earthworm. Well, no, that's not on the EP, is it?
Earthworm is, yeah.
Earthworm is, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. I'm getting confused between my own songs. Just because it was really fun to get that remastered and kind of have it more like popping sonically, like really it's more bright. No offense to the first mix, but it really kind of really like sounded better to me. I don't know, and it really just sounded better for radio and all that. Like, just good overall.
I like Earthworm too. I think it's the most upbeat song we have. Like, it's the most dancey song.
Yeah.
For me, I think I really liked Your Words. It's the slowest song on the album.
Okay.
But I think that when we recorded it, it was already, in my opinion, so good with the first version that remastering it for me was like an easy pick, because I was just like, we can just bring up the vocals a bit more, bring up the like splashes on the drums, and it's already done. Like, so for me, I think just in terms of comfort of like what song I knew would sound good regardless of the remaster, I think it was Your Words, because it's just so simple.
Mm-hmm.
Slow but simple.
yeah, for sure. I think I gravitated the most towards Earthworm as well, just from listening to it today. Just right off the bat, it was like such a good, like solid first track for an EP. How involved were you guys for the remastering? Were you just like getting cuts sent to you, or did you have quite a bit of input as to like how you wanted it to sound?
Yeah, so Howie Beck is the guy who he remixed it. So one of our really, really good friends was the Ryan McNabb was the guy who originally recorded the track for the original version. And then we were referred to Howie by both Graham at Popguru, but also he's a friend of my Uncle Jason, who is the piano player.
Okay.
So there was like a family tie there where we were like, oh, then this is our guy. But because it's COVID and we got all this done literally during COVID, we could only get, the Dropbox sent to us like every few days being like, how do you like this? And then we'd send back some edits, and then they would tweak it and send it again. So there's some involvement, but I mean, I feel like if it weren't COVID, it would have been really cool to sit in the booth and actually hear what it sounds like as it's being remixed and mastered. I think in terms of the mix, we had the most input because we added some effects here and there, and we asked for more of certain things and less of other things. With the mastering, that was, I'm going to butcher his name so bad, João Carvalho. And he did it so well the first time that I think we had like one or two spots where we're like, I think we hear a little click here or whatever. But besides that, like it came out perfect first or second try. So there was less input on the mastering front than the remixing.
Right. How have things changed since signing your deal with Popguru?
I mean, I think he definitely influenced us. So Popguru it's a record label. He also does managing. He does a lot of stuff, Graham. But we're part of his Sync Guru program, which is specifically taking our tracks and trying to like put them in movies and TV shows and advertisements and stuff.
Yeah.
So we haven't landed a gig yet, but we only started this year, so I'm not too worried. And plus COVID and all that stuff, it's been a little crazy in that area. But he was the guy who originally influenced us to get these tracks remastered, because he said, if we're going to have this in a movie, I want it to sound the same as like, they put the Beyonce song up next. We want it to sound sonically the same. So we got it remastered. And then throughout that process, he's been kind of like cheering us on the whole time. Like he was like, why don't you release these songs? Like I'm submitting them to movies and stuff, but you could just have them released. You can make a little EP of it. So he's all to thank for this like idea of basically our COVID album. Like we can't record any new music, so we reproduced our own, and I think that's been it's been easier, and it's definitely been worth it because we've made so many new connections since the first few originals that this was a great way to, I guess, a second chance at those songs. So it's been fun. Yeah.
Cool. A couple of other things about the EP I wanted to know. So can you walk me through that? Like the album art is very cool. Like the purple and blue photo with the like, I don't know, hologram style. I don't know what you call that.
Yeah. I guess futuristic. That's what I always call it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How did who came up with the idea for that? And
would you like to cover?
I think Maxine came up with the idea. It's usually Maxine who does the graphic design for the albums, which is pretty awesome. But we had our friend Tom help us with the actual graphic design part as well. He did a little animation, I think.
Yeah, so to make it as simple stepwise as possible, we had a friend of ours, Stephanie Montani. She was the one who took the photo. Okay. And she actually took the photo. That photo isn't it looks like a double exposure, which I think isn't that when you leave the exposure open and then you move the people and then it looks like that. But instead she took one photo. We're about to spill her secrets, but we basically had a photo of me and a photo of Thomas, and then she did all the Photoshop technique to make it look like it was in the same shot. So she's all to thank for the photo itself. And then, our friend Tom, who actually works at the same music studio as Thomas, do you know the band Jane's Party?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Yeah, so he's in Jane's Party, and he's really, really good at graphic design. So.
Oh, okay. What does Tom do in Jane's Party?
He's the lead guitar player, and he also sings. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so he helped us out with, we had the photo, and then we were like, something's missing. Like, it's such a good photo, but it feels too futuristic. It feels like we're like Daft Punk or something.
Right.
So we're like, we need help not only like sticking our name in there and the album title. Like, we need to actually figure out how we're going to make it look for album artwork. So he helped us out with putting our band title in, the title of the album, and then he also added this really cool like oil slick effect. Mm-hmm. So it gives a bit of like a painting look, which I actually really love because it made it look a little more retro, I guess. Or
for sure.
A little different, which I think really helped because now it's more of like an indie artwork instead of a futuristic artwork. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then, just like going through your Instagram as well, like you definitely have that color palette going for you, like the blue, purple, violet.
I'm so glad you noticed.
Color mixtures. Yeah, it's really cool. I think like I definitely gravitate towards those colors too. Anytime I kind of see them anywhere, I'm like, oh yeah, I like these colors. And then I know that got carried over into the music video. So let's talk about that a little bit now. Sorry, I'm just pulling it up here so I can make sure I'm talking about the right one. Yeah, the music video for Earthworm.
Yeah.
Did you mention that this was shot during COVID?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, thank you.
So was the idea, like the original idea, was it like a bit bigger, and then you had to kind of like figure out like, okay, well, let's figure out how to do this in COVID, or did the whole process just come up during COVID?
The whole process came up during COVID. It was my dad who was like, again, COVID starts, you're like, what are we going to do with our lives? Music is canceled. So he was like, well, why don't you just like jam out a song? You already have the Earthworm logo, which was from the original. Mm-hmm. And why don't you just like, play the song and have that Earthworm animated in jumping around. So our initial concept was actually so much smaller than what the video turned out to be.
Oh, wow.
We were just going to perform in a room and have some animation. But in the end, we have this fantastic friend, Michael Cow, who's a phenomenal director for music videos. And he was like, no, we can make this so much better than that. So he was like, how about this? We set it up so it's a blank background and you guys are switching instruments and you're jumping around and we make it fun because it's a fun song. And then we're like, how about we have 2 backgrounds? Then we got to the idea of having finally 4 backgrounds, which was such a pain in the butt for going to dollar stores and finding like all things purple and all things beige and all that. So
yeah.
But it definitely started off as a small idea. We were like, what are we going to do during COVID? And it became this really fun music video. I think it's one of the most fun ones we've had so far. And we've done 5 total. We haven't released 2 yet, but there are 5 in total that we've now filmed. And I have to say, I think Earthworm's personally one of my favorites. I don't know about you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I really like it too. Yeah, Girl in the Bathroom. I know that came out about a year ago. Is that one of the 5 that you're talking about?
Yeah. So there's Dreamworld, Girl in the Bathroom Mirror, and there's Earthworm out right now. And then we have 2 more. One's completed, sneak peek. And then there's a second one we're still working on during COVID, actually. So yeah, the last 3, including Earthworm, the one we've just finished, and the one we're working on right now. Those are all COVID babies. They're all COVID music videos.
Oh, wicked. When do you think the others might be released?
I think for the one that's ready, we're planning to have it out by the end of November, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for the other one, indefinitely right now. Well, we're hopefully gonna finish it up this weekend and then have it, with all the editing, maybe by the end of the year.
December.
Yeah, maybe by the end of 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We're very up in the air with all this stuff because
Yeah.
really there is no like timelines because everything's so much on hold right now that
Yeah, for sure.
the most thought that goes into is me texting Christina and being like, "Hey, is this a busy week?" And she's like, "Nope." That's about it. So, yeah.
Cool. So you, in lieu of like not going on tour and playing outside of the city, you've played quite a bit in the city though, yeah?
Do you mean like during COVID or in general?
Before COVID.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Before COVID, we had played a lot of shows. Basically, we've only played Toronto in terms of, well, actually, no, we've played in Sweden a few gigs, but we basically have played Toronto, most of the major bars, well, like Horseshoe, Cameron House,
Cool.
Rivoli,
stuff like that.
What was your favorite venue to play at?
For me personally, I think it's got to be Horseshoe just because of its status in terms of history in Toronto. But I also just love the, where do we play at? The Garrison. I love that place.
Oh, yeah, that's true. The Garrison's scary because it's such a big stage and such a big room that it's like, holy smokes, how are we going to fill this up? It's so much bigger. I think my favorite was, I mean, I like Rivoli because they have really, really good mac and cheese, but they also have really good sound. They're also one of the few bars that gives us like a free meal for playing there, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
And then I think my all-time favorite is Junction City Music Hall because it's so close to where our parents live and like where we grew up, or at least where Thomas moved when he came to Toronto. So I think it's kind of cool to have something so close to home. I don't know if you've heard of Junction City Music Hall, but it's like a kind of underground, small retro bar. So they have a lot of old
that's
pinball
up at
machines.
Keele and Dundas, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's in the Junction. Yeah. So they have a bunch of like those old pinball machines and retro like posters and stuff, and that's always been like a homey place for me to play.
Right. Oh, cool. What about as show goers? Where do you like to go?
Oh, what's your favorite?
Oh, that's a good one. I've always also loved Danforth Music Hall. Going to see shows there is great. Like, we went to see the Beaches right before COVID, and I think that was the last concert we saw before
everything
shutdowns or whatever you call it. Yeah, and we've seen Always and July Talk there. Some great bands. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I think all our favorite bands play there. For me, it's where my uncle plays. It's Kerner Hall.
True.
Because the acoustics are just incredible. But that's more of like I guess you could call it quiet music. You couldn't really have a band play there.
No, I've seen bands play there. Yeah, I went to see Stuart Copeland there once.
Oh, really?
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I feel like it'd explode if you put so much sound in there.
Sounds great in there. Okay. You can have normal bands.
Okay, well, I've only seen like very quiet performances there, and I think for that it's phenomenal. But,
right.
Yeah. And the ACC.
What about favorite bar in Toronto?
Oh my God! Remember bars?
Yeah, I know, right? Think hard.
That's so tough.
I mean, the warehouse bars are always a classic. Like, those are always really fun, and they have great drinks and stuff. But for like a good bar, I don't know.
I really can't think of any.
We don't go out too much.
Well, we're loners. You should know that about us, Frankie. We just like to hang out at home.
That's fine. I'm generally the same way too.
I think there's a few bars like we used to live in Bloras Village, so I think that there's a few there that we would go to.
Yeah, Cabin Fever.
Yeah, Cabin Fever is so great. Oh my gosh.
I love that bar.
Actually, funny story. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll keep it short. This is why it goes on for an hour and a half. I understand now. A friend of mine, well, one of our really, really good friends, my neighbor, he used to work at an Apple store, and his boss is the owner, or previous owner maybe, of Cabin Fever. So I went there for my 19th birthday, and she gave me my first ever shot of, what was it? Legal shot. Fireball.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I got a free shot on my birthday because we knew the owner of Cabin Fever. So yeah, that's a good answer. I'm going to stick with Cabin Fever.
Yeah, love Cabin Fever. Yeah, it's such a fun little spot. All right, cool. We're coming to the end now. How do you go about finding new music these days?
Well, that's a good one. Well, I listen to most of my music on Spotify, I guess, and YouTube. So basically through like recommended whatever, what you call it, like recommended playlists and like Discover Weekly and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have an Alexa in our apartment right now, which we can't say her name because she will get she will start to talk to us. Yeah, so but sometimes we just ask her to play like, you know, Sunday morning playlist or pop Friday night or whatever it is, and she'll play it. And if there's the odd song we really like, we'll look at our phones and figure it out. I think for me, it's always been through friends. I always ask my friends. Well, I don't ask them. In fact, most of the time they tell me about good songs. But that's how I get my recommendations, is just like my friends and family recommending new albums and stuff to me. So.
Okay. What is the latest find latest band you've come across or artist?
Thomas is freaking out. He's like, I only listen to old music.
That's okay. It can be someone old, someone new to you.
Well, I found a new artist recently through a coworker, and it's called Sasha Sloan. She's called Sasha Sloan. I don't know if you know her. She's definitely pop, indie, alternative kind of music. It's similar to Billie Eilish, which I also really like. So yeah, that was the latest find for me. It's a little poppy, but it's something that cheers me up if I'm going throughout the day.
Right.
What about you, Thomas?
For me, I recently rediscovered Kid Cudi's older albums, I guess.
Yeah. I love Cudi.
Let's go. Yeah, and being from Cleveland and Shaker specifically, like his music has always resonated with me in a very personal way. So going back to listen to those old songs always like remind me of good times in Cleveland. And yeah, for sure, Kid Cudi.
Okay, cool. Last question is, what have you been listening to the most to get through the pandemic?
I think for me, overall, my favorite band is Foals. So I've been listening to them a lot. Yeah, like especially their newer albums, because they just dropped those during the pandemic as well. Yeah. So yeah, for me, for sure, it's been Foals and Arctic Monkeys as well.
I gotta check my phone real quick. I gotta see what I've been listening to.
You've been listening.
We've been listening to we were listening to yacht rock a lot.
Oh,
like when it's really gloomy. Yeah, we listen to a lot of good wish we were in a sailboat kind of music, or a yacht, I guess. What else? We listen to what vinyls do we have? Like, what have we been? Bob Marley. We listen to Bob Marley a lot. Oh my gosh, so much pop music.
What about you?
You guys recently. But that's a heavy question. I just find like with this podcast, I'm always just doing so much research that it's like, it's not like, not to say that I'm like not enjoying the songs or the bands I'm listening to, but it's not for fun, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I gotta get through this discography. I gotta listen to everything I can, kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
You ever find that because of that, you don't like, not enjoy, but you don't want to listen to music in your free time?
No, not at all. I'm just saying that because I don't have anything top of mind. I'm gonna look at my recently liked songs. Oh yeah, there's actually a couple of local Canadians. I've been listening to Just John's new song, 1,000 Corpses. It's pretty cool. He's a rapper from Toronto, but I'm thinking he is trying to reinvent himself a little bit. So this new song to me sounds like kind of like Gorillaz. It's pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, definitely. If you guys are into that at all, I'd check that out. Otherwise, I just came across another. Well, it's a remix of a guy named Patrick, who I believe is. I thought he was Montreal based, but he might be Toronto based. So I'm sorry about that. But he's got a pretty cool like dancey song out right now. Yeah, and then Mallrat. I've been listening to a lot of Mallrat too recently.
Do you know a band called?
She's awesome.
Do you know a band called Valley?
Yes, yeah, I do.
Yeah, they just released a new EP, so I have been listening to that.
Okay.
That's probably it though for Toronto music, I think. I listen to Dizzy a lot, but they're not from Toronto, I don't think. Yeah, we only listen to old music.
Well, what's
rock.
like what's like your favorite, one of your favorite like all-time
Oh,
artists?
well, we listen to a lot of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin's always fun.
Okay.
In my spare time, probably like, well, it's kind of Swedish, I guess. ABBA.
Oh yeah.
I listen to ABBA a lot. I listen to
Love
Bee Gees
ABBA.
a lot. I listen to Elvis a lot, but like more of the unknown Elvis songs because he's got a lot of like real hits you in the feels kind of songs, surprisingly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of old stuff.
Okay. Yeah. There's
Stuff
nothing wrong with
that's
that. And then I heard you said you were listening to stuff on vinyl. Do you guys have a pretty good collection?
Yeah, we have a record player, so we like to go and buy some vinyls now and then. Except again, we haven't really gone out to vinyl shops since COVID, but
Right.
there's so many all around Toronto. Toronto's such a good hub for these kind of like vintage and record shops and stuff like that. That we would just surprise each other with a new record kind of thing a few months in. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I have a pretty big collection growing now, and that's definitely something I've been trying to do more. Is just I think with Spotify and any streaming service, it's so easy to just listen to one song and more often just listen to part of a song before hitting skip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I really like listening to vinyl these days because it kind of, it just forces me to kind of like just sit down and just enjoy it. Like how I was saying, it's like, not that it feels like a chore, but just like I can actually like respect the album and the artistry and
yeah, exactly.
I
I think that it's really, I like it when you can listen to a song like A side and B side, knowing that that's how the artist wanted you to hear it.
Exactly.
I think there's something special about that. Especially like, I don't know if you listen to the Beatles, but there's like so many hidden things that they include on their records that you can't hear on the Spotify versions.
Oh.
So what album was it? Was it Sgt. Pepper's? Yeah, I think it's Sgt. Pepper's. If you flip to the B-side and you play all the way to the end, at the very end, you know how a record skips when it hits the end?
Yeah.
So they included this like millisecond of them doing completely weird noises. It's like, and it's like all of them doing it. And when you reach the end, it keeps skipping on that. It's almost like they're yelling at you to turn off the record. It just keeps going over and over. Yeah, it's so funny. So I love finding these little things in records that are like, they purposely put that in just for you when you listen to the record. It's so cool.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Have you, okay, well, like maybe I'll ask one more question then. How many tracks do you guys currently have kind of like ready to put on, say, an album?
Do you mean like in our entire collection of like?
Yeah, like do you think like how close would you say you would be to putting an album out? And I'm asking this because like, would you want to be pressing that on vinyl, and then are you going to be doing the proper way of like having a side A and side B that's actually thought out?
Yeah, when we first started recording music, we got way over our heads and got really, really excited. And we're like, we're going to drop an album. It's going to be 10 songs, and here they are. And then when we ran that past Listen Harder, they were like, are you crazy? They're like, no one releases an album on the first thing because you're going to have your family listen to it. So they pointed out that it'd be much better if we built an audience by releasing a single, an EP, like slowly building it up so that the more music we released over more time, the more people that would hear us and grow an audience.
Right.
We did have 10 songs that we were like, we're going to have this on album. And then once we came to the realization that the world doesn't revolve around us, we put it into 2 albums. So that would be the first EP and second EP we ever released were the total 10 songs. And then this remastered EP is 5 of those songs. Actually, no, Earthworm was a new single as well. So we have 11 songs total. And in fact, our first EP we ever wrote, which is called Reflections Volume 1, it's 5 songs, including many of the remastered ones in their original form. We actually made that a vinyl. So we only made about like 10, 20 copies, I think.
Okay.
Maybe 20 copies. and it's only 5 songs, but we did have fun with that process where it was like, this is our first real, record, and
Yeah, like
we
a
put it on
tangible,
vinyl.
a tangible thing.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun picking what's going to be on the A side, what's going to be on the B side, and oh my gosh, the album artwork is so much scarier when it's on such a big scale.
Right. Oh my God, I can imagine.
Yeah, I could. Oh my gosh, I should send you a photo. The back of our vinyl record, if you have it in the sleeve, if you're looking at the artwork and you flip it on the back, we had artwork for the back, we had all the track titles, and then I included a barcode, but I totally missed out on how big the barcode size should be. So it ended up being like the size of your hand instead of, the size of your thumb. So every time we brought it to a records shop to like drop it off and be like, hey, would you mind like selling these? All they had to do was flip it over and be like, what?
Right. Oh
so
God,
the good news is it still works. It's just massive. So it was a fun experience. And I think if we did take, we have 11 songs. So if we did take them and did our album that we once dreamed of, I think we could definitely work on the album art a bit more and figure out that scheme of things.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then finally, what is next for you guys?
Right. Well, definitely the music videos are our main focus for the future, is getting those out and getting those finished up. Mm-hmm. And basically trying to get like those as much views as possible.
Yeah, spreading the word. We also, when we're referring to music videos, it's because this remastered EP is 5 songs, of which we already had 2 videos out, and then we released Earthworm, the video. So the last 2 videos we have are for those last 2 tracks on the EP. So we're trying to have a music video for every song on there. And that way, as we release the music videos, we can keep going back to saying, listen to it on this album, that kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
So they're kind of helping each other out in that sense. Mm-hmm. So I think we're just trying, right now it's more like behind the scenes stuff where we're just trying to spread the word, share some videos, and it's all the creative stuff. It's really fun. I really like it.
Yeah. And it also the businessy side of things, I guess.
Yeah. Which is also exciting because it's like, it makes it feel so much more serious and real deal, Right,
for sure. Is it scary putting stuff out like during a pandemic where you can't really, support the new EP with live shows and stuff like that?
Exactly. I think yes and no. Yes, because obviously, we can't play shows. Thomas and I are a little shy of live streams, so we haven't done any of those yet. Because it's just the 2 of us, so it would sound completely different from our recordings, which we played multiple instruments on. But I also think that the pandemic has caused so many more people to listen to music.
Yeah.
Like, if you're at home and you're just working, you might as well put something on. And I think that's actually really helped us in terms of like gaining exposure. Is just like we released at a time where people are listening to music and they're not going out on like to parties and stuff and listening to 2000s hits.
Yeah.
They're actually like looking for new stuff. Yeah.
Right. Okay. We have reached the end of my questions. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate it. Really looking forward to seeing the music videos and really looking forward to being able to see you play live whenever that is allowed.
Indefinitely. Yeah, cool.
Us too.
Thanks so much for having us. This is so much fun.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Brightened up my day.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. All right.
Thanks so much.
Nice to meet you.
Take care.
Nice to meet you too. Bye.